La-di-da. This is a neat story by that guy. I had started reading this once a long time ago, but I put the book down in the bus station and I forgot. And then I went back to get it and it was gone. Now I went to get mad. It would have just gotten moldy later on anyway. I'm going to back up a little. So they all got into the house. In the meantime, we have a good fire, not enough to heat the whole room, but fine enough if we stay close to it, and a little time to rest. We've been through much, have we not? I think Eddie said that, I'm not sure. Yeah, Jake said, too much. Oh no, I think I need to back up more. Oh yeah, they're talking about that dog thing, the Bumbler, Billy Bumbler. It was a close call. You should have tied him up. Ah, Roland, Susanna said. He's just a boy. No more, Roland said. Cry your pardon, but no more. So, 16. For the first 2 hours of the Stark Blast, which is the name for the storm that freezes things in the air, in motion. For the first 2 hours of the Stark Blast, they were in some doubt if even the stone meeting house would hold. The wind screamed and trees snapped. One slammed down on the roof and smashed it. Cold air jetted through the boards above them. Susanna and Eddie put their arms around each other. Jake shielded Oy, now lying placidly on his back, with his stubby legs splayed to all points of the compass, and looked up at the swirling cloud of bird shit that had sifted through the cracks in the ceiling. Roland went on, calmly laying out their little supper. What do you think, Roland? Eddie asked. I think that if this building stands 1 more hour, we'll be fine. The cold will intensify, but the wind will drop a little when dark comes. It will drop still more come tomorrow light, and by the day after tomorrow, the air will be still and much warmer. Not like it was before the coming of the storm, but that warmth was unnatural, and we all knew it. He regarded them with a half smile. It looked strange on his face. It's Roland answering. The strange smile on his face, which was usually so still and grave. He's happy, half smile, it's a big deal. In the meantime, we have a good fire, not enough to heat the whole room, but fine enough if we stay close to it, and a little time to rest. We've been through much, have we not? Yeah, Jake said, too much. And more ahead, I have no doubt. Danger, hard work, sorrow, death mayhap. So now we sit by the fire, as in the old days, and take what comfort we can. He surveyed them, still with that little smile. The firelight cast him in strange profile, making him young on one side of his face and ancient on the other. We are Katet. We are one from many. Be grateful for warmth, shelter, and companionship against the storm. Others may not be so lucky. We'll hope they are, Susanna said. She was thinking of Bix, the ferryman. Come, Roland said. Eat. They came and settled themselves around their din, and ate what he had set out for them. Susanna slept for an hour or two early that night. But her dreams of nasty, maggoty foods she was somehow compelled to eat, poor thing, woke her. Outside, the wind continued to howl, although its sound was not quite so steady now. Sometimes it seemed to drop away entirely, then rose again, uttering long, icy shrieks as it ran under the eaves in cold currents and made the stone building tremble in its old bones. The door thudded rhythmically against the bar holding it shut, but like the ceiling above them, both the bar and the rusty clamps seemed to be holding. She wondered what would have become of them if the wooden bar had been as punky and rotted as the handle of the bucket they'd found near the gook. Gook is another word for well. It's really, I don't get it. He's just trying to be funny. I don't know, man. Whatever. They're good at digging wells, actually. They invented it. Roland was awake and sitting by the fire. Jake was with him. Between them, Oi was asleep with one paw over his snout. Susanna joined them. So it's Roland and Jake, the dog asleep between them by the fire, and Susanna coming to join them. The fire had burned down a little, but this close it threw a comforting heat on her face and arms. She took a board, thought about snapping it in two, decided it might wake Eddie, and tossed it into the fire as it was. Sparks gushed up the chimney, swirling as the draft caught them. She could have spared the consideration, because while the sparks were still swirling, a hand caressed the back of her neck just below the hairline. She didn't have to look. She would have known that touch anywhere. Without turning, she took the hand, brought it to her mouth, and kissed the cup of the palm, the white palm. Even after all this time together and all the lovemaking, she could sometimes hardly believe that. Yet there it was. At least I won't have to bring him home to meet my parents, she thought. Can't sleep, sugar? A little, not much. I had funny dreams. The wind brings them, Roland said. Anyone in Gilead would tell you the same. But I love the sound of the wind. I always have. It soothes my heart and makes me think of old times. He looked away, as if embarrassed to have said so much. None of us can sleep, Jake said, so tell us a story. Roland looked into the fire for a while, then at Jake. The gunslinger was once more smiling, but his eyes were distant. A knot popped in the fireplace. Outside the stone walls, the wind screamed as if furious at its inability to get in. Eddie put an arm around Susanna's waist, and she laid her head on his shoulder. "What story would you hear, Jake, son of Elmer?" "Any," he paused, "about the old days." Roland looked at Eddie and Susanna. "And you? Would you hear?" "Yes, please," Susanna said. Eddie nodded. "Yeah, if you want to, that is." Roland considered. "Mayhap I'll tell you too, since it's long until dawn and we can't sleep tomorrow away, and we can sleep tomorrow away if we like." These tales nest inside each other, yet the wind blows through both, which is a good thing. There's nothing like stories on a windy night, when folks have found a warm place in a cold world. He took a broken piece of wood paneling, poked the glowing embers with it, then fed it to the flames. "One I know is a true story, for I lived it along with my old commate, Jamie de Curry. The other, The Wind Through the Keyhole, is one my mother read to me when I was still small. Old stories can be useful, you know, and I should have thought of this one as soon as I saw Oi scenting the air as he did. But that was long ago." He sighed. "Gone days." In the dark beyond the firelight, the wind rose to a howl. Roland waited for it to die a little, then began. Eddie, Susanna, and Jake listened, rapt, all through that long and contentious night. Lud, the tick-tock man, Blaine the mono, the Green Palace, all were forgotten. That was their troubles before. Even the dark tower itself was forgotten for a bit. There was only Roland's voice, rising and falling like the wind. "Not long after the death of my mother," he started, "which, as you know, came by my own hand." That's Roland of Gilead.